There's really no Hailey from Toronto.
Who is Hailey from Toronto?
There's really no Hailey from Toronto. It's loosely based on experiences I've had in my life, but more than anything, I just wanted that person to reflect somebody who was as far away from the girl who he's singing to as I could portray it. You know, the girl from not from home, from way off. So it was more about that than it was dropping the name of somebody I actually knew.
Do you know that there's kind of a TikTok trend about Hailey's from Toronto, wondering who she is?
I didn't know that, but for whatever reason, Hailey, and the lyric says "hanging out with Hailey from Toronto." So obviously, it's nice when in songwriting when you've got the alliteration going for you, and even the rhyme of the HA and the HA, it has a nice ring to it. But also, Hailey just happened to, for whatever reason, it just seemed like the perfect name. So it's just one of those things that just kind of worked out. There was actually a filler line originally, and I thought, well, that's probably too specific a detail to leave in there. I'll take that out and replace it. And my producer convinced me to leave it in, and so that became the lyric.
Women in My Life is a beautiful song.
Oh, thank you.
With the country genre sometimes being a little bit exclusionary or objectifying of women, why was that such an important song for you to write?
It was tricky for me, you know, to write about the women in my life because I'm a male, and there is I would say, a thread of masculinity in my music, and I thought, well, is that too sacred for me to be speaking on at times? But then I thought, no, it's really, you know, it's about the women who raised me, but also the women who I've crossed paths with throughout my life. And there's been such a strong masculine influence on my life growing up in the South, where you kind of have to be tough to survive, and you lean on that part of you, and it becomes a big part of your identity. But without the feminine touch, you know, that can go off the rails, and it can be too much. So I'm just grateful for the feminine influence on my life from all the women in my life over the years, because I know what I'm capable of, and I kind of know what I would have become, I can imagine, without that influence. And I don't think it would have been pretty. So I'm just grateful for those women, and I just wanted to, you know, try to reflect that in the song without stepping into territory that I shouldn't be in the first place. But hopefully that song walked that line.
And how did the women in your life react when you played it for them?
My mom is very expressive, and it's been hard for her to figure out how to express herself through text, so she's figured out emojis now. And so when I sent her the song, I don't know how many emojis were in the response, but it was there were a lot. But I definitely, it was meaningful to her, and she approved of it, and so I was glad, because she was sort of the foundational character in the song that inspired the song.
So you famously joined Taylor Swift for her 1989 tour.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, will we see you at the Eras tour?
Oh no, I don't think so. But man, it's been amazing watching her this far into her career stir up so much buzz and bring so much joy to people's lives. I mean, the tour came through Nashville recently, and I mean, all ages folks going out to her show, and there aren't a lot of concerts now that are family friendly, and I just think it's good in this crazy time to have artists like her who are creating a fun, musical, family friendly environment, especially at that level. So I think it's great.
So with your music being so narrative focused a lot of the time, how has becoming a father changed that for you?
It's been tricky for me to figure out how to approach writing as I've gotten older, and my life has changed so much over the last few years. I'm a little intimidated by the idea of drawing from my real experiences now, because it's a lot to take on. It's kind of like the women in my life thing. It feels like it's such a sacred thing, your children and your wife and your family. I don't feel like I'm necessarily up to the task to express or reflect in a song all the things that I'm experiencing and feeling. But I am inspired by my babies and my life right now, and the family life, and God and wholesomeness and tradition and all those things that I sort of bucked against early in my life. I find myself coming home to them now, and I hope some music can come from these experiences, but we'll see. I've been reluctant to go there yet, but we'll see.
And I'm curious about Walmart. Why Walmart?
A trip to Walmart is such a staple small town experience. You know, the song was called Walmart and about Walmart, but it was really about children coming into the world and perspective shifts that happen as you get older when babies come into the world. And, you know, you can sort of be self-involved when you're younger and get caught up in how you feel and what might have been and all those sorts of things. And then you see that there's a bigger plan and a bigger picture. And it's part of growing up. But the fact that all that could happen at the Walmart, is the juxtaposition of that was kind of the catch, I think, for me in that song. But, you know, we've got songs in country music about every other place in our small town, so I figured we might as well have a song about Walmart.
With a song like that, do you start with the title, or do you get to the title later on?
I just had the line, "I saw your mom at Walmart with your little girl." You know, so it didn't necessarily hinge on Walmart. It could have been, you know, anywhere else. But again, that just like the stated nature of Walmart, just next to that just big life moment, I think was the draw. And it was, you know, loosely based on some of my experiences of over the years. After moving to Nashville and going home for the holidays, I'd run to Walmart to get, like, if my mom's cooking sweets and cakes at Christmas and she's missing an ingredient, she'd send one of us boys to Walmart, and I would always run into somebody from a past life. You know, years gone by, after you haven't seen these people in years, it's such an existential moment to really sit and reflect on your life and how much has changed and where you come from and where you've gone. You know, so a lot of like big moments have happened in the Walmart, and, you know, when I'm just rushing in there to grab something my mom needs.
With the CCMAs coming up, we're to perform there.
Mm-hmm.
What can we expect? Can you give us a little tease?
Yeah, I'm gonna play a new song. I say new, it's been out a couple months. It's gonna be my next single. I've finally been fairly consistent this spring in terms of putting out new music. I've had stretches in my career where it's been harder to get out new music, whether it's writing the songs or getting them recorded. I don't know what, but I've tried to make a more concerted effort this year of getting music out. So it'll be nice to play a new song.
You said breaking up was easy in the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm curious whether you think these things were easier in the 90s or harder.
Gotcha, okay.
Having a house party.
Easier in the 90s.
Meeting a girl.
Harder in the 90s, I would say.
Getting a little starter house.
Easier in the 90s.
Raising kids.
Easier in the 90s, I think.
Straightening out your accent.
That would be harder in the 90s.
Picking a baby name.
Picking a baby name, I'll say easier in the 90s.
Going to Walmart.
For me, easier in the 90s.
Holding your horses on a second date.
Let's see, I was too young to be on a second date in the 90s, but I would say easier in the 90s.
Like the video? Then hit the button, or better yet, drop us a comment. Then check out our latest videos here. And don't forget to subscribe by hitting the button here for more celebrity interviews and entertainment news.